There we go. Can you hear me now? How's that? I should do my whole spiel all over again, seeing as none of you heard it. Isn't that great? I could have gone through this whole stream and no one would have heard me, and I'd be like, "What's he on about? What's he on about?" Um, but just let me know if that's coming through. I can see it in the audio mixer, so I'm just not sure, and I know there's going to be a delay. Loud and clear. Fantastic. All right, let's start this story again. In the background, my wife has left the house to let me get on with streaming, and she's left the washing machine on because my studio is in the garage, and it's just hit the big spin cycle. It's very appropriate because I'll just take off the chat so you can see the reference photo again. So the reference photo painting is Helen sitting on a rock in a river in the bush. And we were way in the bush, a good hour's walk down a disused railway track. And so the sound of water in the background is just very appropriate for this particular video. I don't know about the spin cycle though. So let's just transition. So yeah, no, I'm great. Thanks very much for telling me, Adam. It would have been a disaster. So as I was saying, and as I will now repeat, my productivity is not so good because I've been building a new PC, and the old one just kept crashing. Crash Gordon is what I renamed it. And it was a bit of a disaster, so I had to quickly build a new PC, and so my painting sort of got stalled a bit, and I'm way behind in what I should have got done. But we're here now, so that's all good. And during the week, as I was setting everything up, I came across a YouTuber. Actually, he's not a YouTuber. He's someone who plays Halo and does streaming for his church. And he was sharing some settings he used for streaming. I guess both, mainly he did it in Twitch for his gaming, but his YouTube settings for his church. And said if you force it, the streaming software, to go into 1440p and use a different YouTube server, you can get a better quality output. So I'm not sure, because on my screen at the moment, through my cam here, it's looking slightly out of focus. Now we're in focus. That's what we needed. Now it's out of focus. So I might just have some issues with my screen. Always something. You can see a very good shot of my back. Okay, so I'm going to try and get this camera to focus more on my hands. Sorry everyone, it's just the setup is always it's always something else to fiddle around with when you're live. Right, so I was saying, so in my reference photo, there's some rocks along the river here. I'm going to fill this in with river, but Helen is sitting on this big rock. And previously in the stream I've said I start from the top and come down, so that if any of the pastel dust, gravity makes it full. So you give it a tap every now and then just to knock off any loose dust. But so why would I do the rock and not, because that's going to be below Helen, why don't I start from her here and work down? The reason being is that if some colours of her drop onto the rock, that's going to be great. That'll just look good. So we're not worried about that. For our rock, and I must say, it's lovely to have Adam here with me. Adam and I have been fiddling around with doing some OBS learnings lately, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it's just doesn't. And right now, Adam, I've got a little window behind OBS telling me that it can't find some scripts. So I've got to find out where they go. Just don't know where they are. Or why it can't find them. But it's pretty annoying. Rocks. Thanks to all those who are dropping in and out too, by the way. Probably from LinkedIn. Because I just let them know that I was streaming. Oh, thank goodness the washing machine's nearly dead. Or I should say, finished its job. Here we go. So the rock, just bring up the reference photo. So the rock is actually, you'd normally look at a rock and you go, oh, that's quite grey. You know, rocks are grey, right? There is a lot of grey in nature, an amazing amount actually. I don't really notice it because it's kind of a neutral default colour. But what I have found is, in fact, there's many colours in rocks. And get the correct angle of which that stone is going. And I'm using a turquoise. This is turquoise shade. It's not as dark. It's turquoise extra dark, which I'm quite happy to drop in the shadow areas. It's kind of a, and turquoise is greeny blue, right? Here's pure turquoise, and that is going to end up in water, representing the water. But the shades, how they make the shades in using pan pastel, or any pastel, or any pigment really, is you're mixing in the lights and darks. So you'll have have some white, add some titanium white, or you'll add a black. That gives you the variation. Been looking at making my own pastels. I'm not sure if I'll stream that, probably record it first. It might just take too long in streaming anyway. So, anyway, I built this new PC. And I haven't built a PC for about 6 years. 6 years? Oh, probably 4 years. 4 years since I last built one. I built one for my wife just before pandemic. was kind of hoping she was going to use it for playing games on rather than my PC. No. My PC. That's fine. So anyway, PCs have wee way since I last built one. It was quite a fear-inspiring experience, particularly when the PSU fell off the table. It was disappointing, but it wasn't broken, so that was good. And everything worked except for the bit that I thought I was going to save some money on. I had I'd read a lot of articles on can you transfer your old Windows license across from old PC to your new one, and the answer is it depends. Depends if Microsoft wants to let you, or if they see an opportunity for just getting some more money out of you. So I had a retail box version of Windows 7, which I'd upgraded to 10 in my last PC. Because I'd bought the license, well, that meant something, but apparently not. This dark shade of turquoise is much greener. It's okay. Hopefully I don't have, I'll just check my shot, because sometimes I'm never sure if my back is taking, oh no, you can see what I'm going. What? Doesn't look like a rock. Well, the hand pastel, or any pastels, it depends on your paper that you're putting the pastel on. And what I'm putting it on is pastel matte, which fantastic invention. A lot of people who do colour pencils love it as well. Beautiful paper by Clairefontaine. Different from the old pastel paper. So a pastel, for pigment to stick on a paper, it's got to have a rough surface and to soak it in, which is why cotton rich papers are often used. And the pigment sort of sticks to the paper. Now, if you had a water medium or an oil, then it would soak in and permanent. But even on the cotton rich papers, you can get a plastic eraser and use that for painting with as well. So it's amazing. I've seen people use the eraser for doing cloud outlines if they're painting on a white background. Very effective. Okay. So, but the pastel matte, I think the pastel matte is it's very grippy. It can take a lot of layers. Still. What that means, okay. So what that means is that you get this sort of, the paper's grabbing the pastel, and so you're not getting a big broad brushstroke like if you were using paint, because you've got an oil or a water type medium that's that's flushing it across the paper. With pastel, you're just working with the pigment alone. And so it's like, okay, once the pigment's on the paper, as far as it's going to go, and you can keep blending and it will end up looking incredibly smooth, but just at the start, it doesn't. We're in the it doesn't stage. Many on this. Read the picture. It's going. Particular rock is quite good because it's got a lot of pink on it as well. Good too. Those pinks. Yeah, so the PC story I'm talking about today. Here for art and about my PC. However, the PC is a big part of my journey because my studio is open public via YouTube. In order to see that work. So Microsoft, there I was trying to move my stinking license across. Accept the product key. I rang them up. Said we don't do that anymore. That was disappointing, I thought. Licenses are not cheap. Microsoft is $1 trillion company. Don't get there from friends with you. So this stage of the painting is still very much blocking in. Pull out some blacks. I find the direction the light is hitting that rock, which highlights it's quite a tone. This turquoise, I've just realised, make it damp rock. Know that. And if you missed my preamble because Adam turned up, my microphone wasn't working. Done all the blocking in. This took sort of maybe 2 hours to block in background, and when you're up close, it just looks a disaster. Little marks all over the place. When you step back for a normal distance away from the painting, so it's, I suppose as we walk through a house, we might be a couple of meters away from the wall at a given time, and then it looks fine. Because our brains just fill it all in and they go, oh yeah, she's on a rock and river. So that's just why artists often have to step back from their work to go for it in their own head. Is this still making sense for me? Today's coffee is called Crave. It's very on brand for me. Coffee called Crave. And a very nice one it was too. Okay. As I keep building up, and the shapes will appear. So the colour will come, or the shape will appear from colours are put down, because that's how light works in our eyes. Start identifying shapes. The way the light is bouncing off surfaces. So that's how our eyes get tricked by 3D graphics, which, you know, you're looking at a 2D screen. The way that they portray the light bouncing off the surfaces is how eventually the brain picks it up. Not going for a realistic all the time painting. With a painting, letting the audience see what they see. Just put up a picture on LinkedIn before I started the stream. It's a very sad painting. If you've been following my journey, I have seen the video of it. It was of a couple. I did a series of 6 paintings of a couple who were dancing, doing a tango or something. Maybe not a tango, it was a slow dance. And then he says something to her, and in her face changes. She's sort of frowning. She chats with him, sort of confronts him. Next photo is her walking away and she's crying. The thing with art is that the art that I enjoy, it evokes an emotion, which could be any emotion. It could be awe. That's great. You look at something, you're just blown away by how someone was able to see that and translate it. Get that from art, which is photorealistic as well. Incredible skill to copy something. Get the nuance of the person. Or the art could be the subject, right? Art could be the subject. Just the scene is evocative. Not quite sure how that leaves you. Well, the one I did of the sad girl, first response I read was exactly how I felt when my husband passed away. Oops. But that's how we resonates, and we see a picture and we go, that's how I feel. Hopefully people won't cry when they I just go, what's that girl doing on the rocks? Up to. Of time. It's 10:30. Yep. Not bad. Only had minor disasters today. Cope with minor disasters. Minor disasters being no sound. Big shout out to Adam Specht for letting me know. The focus, like, still, focus is good. The problem earlier on. Of course, when you look at this, you just go, what's this mess? What's going on here? I'm afraid that's what painting's like. First you do a drawing, right? You go, oh, I can understand that. That makes sense. I can see an outline of a woman. Our brain goes, that makes sense. And then you start putting all this stuff down, and your brain goes, what's that mess? I don't understand that, because it's all the parts. In fact, it's missing so many parts. Our mind actually can't put it together. And there was a pastel artist that I watched for a while, and she noted on her videos, so like her videos were like 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, and she'd do a whole demo in that paint. And at the sort of the 10-minute mark, that's when everyone would drop off. And she thought about it as to why that was, because what was the difference? Was it boredom? Because people got short attention spans. But the conclusion she came to was that's the bit when the painting looked the most ugly. That the brain couldn't quite comprehend what was going on. And so, yeah, she always sort of gets to a certain mark and she's now, don't leave yet. It's like, don't leave yet. We're just getting started. Don't panic. Panic. I'm using my wedge, this initial bit. I will be switching a smaller, nearly said scalpel. It's a palette knife. Where it's a sponge knife. I'll be switching to that. I want to get into a bit more detail. Just want to sort of block in this rock. It's my rock is blocked in, then it's one less thing to worry about. And the sponge is very quick, relatively quick. And just to give you an idea, so this painting will probably take me maybe 8 to 10 hours to do. Depends how stress, and here's probably an hour. Getting the correct tones on his skin be an hour as well. The shadows, dress, full reflection of the light that's coming through on her leg, sitting, bounces back. So I've got a bit of reading to do of the picture as well. But relatively speaking, that to some people who spend 200 hours plus. One guy in Wales I watched does these amazing big canvases of the countryside, photorealistic, absolutely stunning, in oils. Incredible work. Take him 2 years to do a painting. And he's got all these paintings on the go, and he's actually a bit worried because he's getting old now. He's these sad. So concentrate. Pastel. You know, a lot of people. I mean, shorts and TikToks these days, you can see someone do hours and hours of work in just 60 seconds, right? But that doesn't teach you how to do it, or give you a sense of idea of what's involved for me to do. I watched a whole ton of videos on how to build a PC. It took me a lot longer to build it than the thing about the wedges, not wedges you eat. Nice little lines going. Times drawing. Trying to gotta mentioned in the last stream, just I've gotten over my fear of using black. So you say, no, don't use black. Use a mixture of blue and red, or red and green, give you strong darks, and it does. You're using pastel pencils. But these blacks are going to get blended in anyway, so create a little black. It's great thing about pastel, it's quite forgiving. You can take it off. So I've got these special sort of called kneadable erasers, and you just pop it on, and the pigment will come off. Big mess of your eraser. So it's you can recover mistakes. Because according to Bob Ross, there's such thing as a mistake. There's only a happy accident. It's really good. So what he. Sometimes I can't talk and write at the same time. I can't wear all my darks are. shadows. Blend that in a bit. So our light is coming down this way. That way. Hitting her face. Light sources that way. When I was taking the photos, I made sure the sun was behind me because I had learnt at that stage. Take photos where the sun is in front. Ain't it? So this is my third stream. So the first stream was okay, and stream. The second stream crashed. The computer crashed halfway through, and it's tragic. And that really prompted me to hurry up and just get a replacement. And a happy experience. This one, it was okay. This one I'm back to, because I'm on the new PC, is a bit experimental. So, gonna get better. When I first started putting videos up on YouTube, they weren't very. Not that my current ones are that great. The video journey is actually very similar to the painting journey. When I started painting, which actually isn't that long ago, so this is like maybe my 80th painting, somewhere in the 80s anyway. And I started in 2020? 2019. No, it'd be 2020. The pandemic had arrived, we were getting shut down, I couldn't do my business. And I'm like, oh, what can I do? I found my old pastels. So let me just grab them. These are my old pastels. And some of them are like 20 years old. They're pretty brittle. They were brittle back then. They're more brittle now. And I'd taken up pastel painting. I thought I'd give it a go in 2002. And I did about 12 paintings. That's all, just 12. One's hanging on hallway. That one turned out okay, but most of them were rubbish. It's just terrible. Because you're just starting off, right? You don't know what you're doing. But I got one good one done, and I was quite happy with that. But life got busy, so I stopped painting. What you do? Had kids, and just wasn't working. And then so anyway, so the pandemic comes, and what can I do? Well, I'm going to pick up some pastels, and I did one. I stuck it up on YouTube. Terrible picture. Let's do a video. Anyway, terrible picture. And but people were really gracious and encouraged me and said, "Oh, that's great." So then I thought, okay, well, I do another picture. And after I got to about the 10th one, I thought, am I actually going to do this? I could start feeling the urge of buying pastels coming on. That's a terrible thing. You start a hobby and you go, Oh, I just want to get all the right gear, because if I have the right colors, surely the picture's just gonna, I'm gonna have magic pastels, and out of my hands is gonna appear this picture. So it doesn't work that way. But all the salespeople say that's how it works. They do that for everything, don't they? You just get my new stuff, and then suddenly, out of your hands, everything will be good. Sales 101. Anyway, so I said to myself, how long would it take me to become good painting? And I figured if I did 100 paintings, 100, then probably I would develop enough muscle memory and understanding of in order to get right. And so I'm still on the journey, and I'm still working it out, but a lot of things are becoming clearer. Except these rocks. These rocks don't look like rocks at the moment. It will. You just have to trust me, because I've been down the path long enough to go, oh yeah, no, you just got to put all this stuff down and not get too carried away. It's really important. Don't get too carried away and put rocks, and it will become clear. So the reason I'm telling you that story is because it applies to the video creation as well. And maybe there's some people who understand it first time. I understand Quentin Tarantino work in a video store. I don't know if that's a true story or not. Apparently he watched a lot of movies and came to understand how editing worked, what seemed to grab interest. And so when he started certainly making the ones that that some of the rest of us, we just gotta find our rhythm. That's what I'm doing. Just finding my rhythm. The videos will get better, but they're still at the early stage. So on my main channel, this is the live feed. But for the videos that are stored there, the early ones are terrible. Sounds bad, camera's bad. And right now I'm just using a budget. I suppose it is. It's the lowest range camcorder of Sony, but it's pretty good. Doesn't really like low light. Pretty good. Get really good. Start subscribing. Get a better camera. Suits my needs right now. So anyway, I've got great equipment. Sometimes it's not that matters. No. Edmund Hillary climbed Everest with equipment that people didn't dream of using today. So Stowe revolutionized scuba diving with equipment people wouldn't dream of using. You know what sort of tools Michelangelo had when he was doing his paintings, his sculptures, but they probably weren't that great. Just what he had available. So you wait until you've got the very best gear. It's not going to make you good. It's what's in here and in here that's out that's going to make. Here's your story for the day. Oh, that's very blue. It is very blue, David. Water, in fact, not be that colour, but this is the underlying. difference sitting on top. Lapping. It was just a little bit low. Block it up. We go for time. 5 minutes. I want to thank everyone who tuned in today, and whether you tuned in for a second and went, that fan has got no sound, dropped off again, appreciated. Watching the recording of this, hopefully I will have time-stamped it as to when the audio actually kicks in, otherwise that's pointless. I'll have to go back to my OBS settings and what's going on. When I come back to this rock next week, what we're going to be slapping on is the one. This one. Oop. Nearly dropped it. This is permanent red tint, and that's going to be going into this rock as well, and some permanent red as well. You go, oh, that doesn't sound right, but you'll find that around this bit of the rock here, there's definitely, I can see lots of red happening, and this is going to be coming out in her dress as well. And I haven't decided on whether I'll when I took the photo, I had it brought beautiful shoes, and shoes included. A little toe sticking out here, red toe. I haven't decided whether I'm going to not. Might try it and then out. Anyway, so the permanent red will blend or help Helen bed into the rock. That's what's going to happen. So we'll keep working on the rock next week. It's kind of I tuned in and I didn't really see too much. How art goes. Gets better. Come back. Gets better. So how about I shut the stream down? Thank you very much for coming. I am going to go and have a massive cup of coffee. You know, wow, that big. Let me show you my cup. Get a lot of laughs about this cup on LinkedIn because I got this cup, and let's bring it right up close. Ring for a refill, it says, and so let's do that. There we go. Ring for a refill, and nothing happens. And I was like, "There's something wrong in the box. I must be missing something in the box. What am I missing?" Anyway, that's my ring for a refill cup. Maybe I'll end up having a pastel art coffee. There we go. If you can't afford the paintings, maybe you'll enjoy having a cup. Maybe with a bell, you know, ring for the next episode. So if you can, like and subscribe, and I'll see you again. Thank you very, very much for thanks for the laughs. I'll see you again either on LinkedIn or back here on the stream. Cheers, everyone.